Hey everybody, welcome to the AI Guide where we're making AI human. What does that mean? That means that we focus on the human impact of AI and the associated exponential technologies like self-driving, 3D printing, and much more, which we're going to talk about two new areas where AI is taking hold this week. So the first is an article that came out about battery electric train deliveries are on track to quadruple this year in 2023. So that's a 4x, and that defines exponential technologies. So let's dig into this just a little bit. But before we do, click the links below. Get my book on Amazon, The Beginner's Guide to AI, A Short History of AI and Current Impact on 10 Different Industries. It's a short read, about 2 hours for the whole book, and it gives you a really good grounding in AI over 10 industries. So that's number one. And the second link is free resources. The resources are free. Everything in the resources is free. And this is a way to learn a lot more about the AI that you will have to use at work starting in the very, very near future. So click those links and take advantage of these two resources. So back to battery electric trains. So this article says at first, today's rail networks largely consist of electric trains tethered to electric overhead and live rail systems. So a live rail is the third rail that the train pulls electricity from. So let me say this article is written by a European firm. Therefore, it's speaking from a European perspective where most rail lines are electrified. That is not true here in the US, where the AI Guide is located. The majority of trains here, except along passenger rail routes of high frequency, are diesel powered. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So basically, the article then goes on to say that remote geographic locations, which is a lot of the area that rail runs in, and places where it's very, very expensive to build electric trains rely on diesel fuel. And many are starting to transition towards zero emission technologies because there's a couple reasons for that. One, you can see this when you go to the gas station and get gas for your car or truck. The price of diesel is way higher than regular gasoline. So diesel is a big, big cost for these railroads. And then in addition, diesel as a general statement is more polluting than gas-powered engines are. So that's two reasons. The article goes on to say demand for untethered electric trains will increase rapidly over the coming years, with sales growing fourfold year on year this year alone to 100 deliveries, which doesn't sound like a lot, but keep in mind that we're talking about locomotives or passenger trains. These are very, very expensive pieces of equipment, so 100 is a lot. 100 is over $1 billion in sales. The primary drivers of our rail equipment manufacturers and operators seeking to reduce high diesel costs as well as hit climate targets. Industry momentum is also building through the rapid advancement of lithium-ion battery technology. Battery electric locomotives, BELs, are starting to become realistic. In the future, the vast energy requirements of rail will eventually lead to some of the largest traction battery deployments across all electric vehicle markets. So when you think about train engines pulling thousands or millions of tons of rail cars behind them fully loaded, you can see that the battery demand for these vehicles is extremely high. And that's why it says that this is some of the highest battery load of any vehicle type. Mainline locomotives are largely commercial and industrial freight trains. They are larger and more expensive, often need long-range requirements, and they require multi-megawatt-hour battery systems from the start. Now, a megawatt-hour can power a decent number of homes, so we're talking about a lot of electrical power. Future gigawatt-hour battery demand will grow at 36% per year, which is a compound rate over the next 10 years. That is a massive growth in this technology. And keep in mind that, cars and trucks obviously are going electric. That's crystal clear. We've talked about how major auto manufacturers are going entirely electric with their fleets as soon as 2035, meaning no more gas-powered engines. The number is going to drop dramatically. Well, the same thing is going on with mining equipment. We've talked about that before, how the big dump trucks and diggers and the drills that drill the shafts into the ground, all that mining equipment is being electrified right now, and now it's starting to happen with rail. So this is how it's going to go. Battery power is going to drive all transportation by 2040, roughly. Now, there's different types of batteries, right? We're not going to talk about that. But we are going to talk about, why did I talk about battery electric trains when this is an AI channel? Well, the reason why is that AI is going to play a huge role in railroad transportation in the near future. How is that? The biggest, number one, most easy to implement thing is freight management, right? So railroads run on specific lines. They're not like trucks. They're much more inflexible, and they're point to point. AI can figure out the best way to configure each train in terms of number of cars, type of various cars, like hoppers, rail cars, etc., how many engines it'll take to pull that, and what the time of the trip that needs to be made is going to be, very, very closely. And a little bit down the road, AI will be managing all rail traffic movement in the United States. This is going to come this decade, by 2030. So AI is going to play a huge part in the revolution of rail traffic, even though it is not like it is for self-driving vehicles with all the camera sensors and all that, because you don't need that on a rail line. But AI will still play an important part. So thanks so much for tuning in. We'll see you next time. Have a great week, and we'll see you on Wednesday.